They are going to catch the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they are going to win the AFC North. Draft a quarterback in the first round and restart this rebuild. And when you restart the rebuild, make sure you have a different general manager in charge, not named Chris Grier. Isn't it nice to be healthy? That is what the Baltimore Ravens are saying right now as they're currently cruising to victory on the road against Miami on Thursday Night Football. And that is the biggest thing for Baltimore right now. They finally have a healthy football team to kind of help them bounce back from this really rough start to the year. 2-5, going to be 3-5 after this. And I'm telling you right now, they are going to catch the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they are going to win the AFC North. Vegas knows. I don't think the Steelers were ever favored to win the AFC North, despite their 4-1 start. And Lamar Jackson's back. He played really well tonight. Their offense is incredibly healthy. They were just missing, the one and only Lamar Jackson. Now that he's back, they're humming again. And their defense this year was supposed to be good. They just got so banged up so quickly. And they are still extremely banged up. Their best defensive lineman in Matabuke, he's not going to play all year with his neck injury. Tavius Robinson's on IR. Bulio Cone is on IR. Jair Alexander is hurt. They signed him in the offseason when the Packers released him. And there's other guys out there who are hurt too. But their big three are all playing. Roquan Smith is back. Kyle Hamilton is playing. And Kyle Van Noy is an older player. But he just, ever since he showed up in Baltimore, he's just I'm just going to get double-digit sacks every year. Nate Wiggins is playing. So, the really important guys for the Baltimore defense are finally healthy. They drafted Mike Green out of Marshall in the first round as well. So, they've got talent on their defense playing right now. And so, he had half of a sack. Or excuse me, they took him in the second round. He had half of a sack tonight against the Dolphins. So, their talented players are finally healthy, and their defense is playing better. Because of that, this is back-to-back really impressive performances on defense, holding the Bears to 16 points last week, making Caleb Williams look like he hasn't gotten any better, and then doing what they did to the Dolphins tonight. They're not even going to allow a touchdown. So they're going to come back and win that division just because their schedule the rest of the way is just much easier than the Steelers. I fully expect for the Steelers to lose to the Colts on Sunday. When that happens, they're going to fall to 4-4. The Ravens will be 2 games back at 3-5, right? Yeah, 1 game back. I don't know. They play the Steelers twice. They'll probably beat them twice, and then those will be the 2 games that they need. Plus, they'll obviously have the tiebreaker. And their next 3 games are against the Vikings, Browns, and Jets. They're probably going to win all 3 of those in addition to this game tonight. Meanwhile, for the Steelers, they have to play the Colts this week. And then after that, they have to go to the Chargers. That's probably a loss. And then they get the Bengals at home, a Bengals team that's already beaten them once this year. And then they go to Chicago to play the Bears, who aren't great, but, certainly aren't a bad football team either. So, and then they still have to play the Bills and the Lions. The rest of their schedule is significantly tougher than Baltimore. So go ahead and do yourself a favor and go bet Baltimore to win the AFC North, because unless Lamar Jackson gets hurt again, they are going to cruise to the finish line in that division. They'll finish the year at 10-7, 9-8. Might even win that division, especially if they hold the tiebreaker over the Steelers. So they look good. This is a team before the year that was voted to have the best roster in football, and when they're healthy, they're really good, which is surprising to absolutely nobody. The other side of the game tonight, the Miami Dolphins, just blow it all up. Just blow it up. I saw a report this morning from Jeremy Fowler of ESPN where he basically said that the Dolphins weren't going to sell at the trade deadline despite being one of the worst teams in football. That's just what they are this year. And as a Miami Dolphins fan, I hate saying that, but that's just the truth of it. If Chris Grier doesn't want to sell, then go ahead and fire him. And whoever you replace him with as acting GM, you just look at him and you say, you trade everybody that you can. And acquire as many picks as possible and as many young players as possible, because keeping 30-year-old Bradley Chubb around for the rest of the year isn't that's not helping you. Even when you're good enough to compete again, Bradley Chubb probably won't even be playing football at that point in the year. So move him, Move the very injury-prone Jalen Phillips, who still has some upside. Move everybody that you can. Move Tua if you can. And fire Mike McDaniel and fire Chris Grier. Chris Grier, I think, he's one of the longest tenured GMs in the sport. And the Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since 2000. Fire that guy. Fire Mike McDaniel and go bring in, I don't want to say a real coach, but bring in a tougher coach that doesn't look like a sports writer. Okay, like you got the hire right when you hired Brian Flores. Tough dude whose teams got better as the year progressed, year in and year out. I get it. He wasn't perfect for Tua, all that kind of stuff, but he was right about Tua. Tua needs a lot of things around him for him to be a functional quarterback, and it's hard to have all those things when you're paying him $53 million a year. So move him, bite the bullets, pay some of his salary to move him, draft a quarterback in the first round, and restart this rebuild. And when you restart the rebuild, make sure you have a different general manager in charge, not named Chris Grier. Make sure you have a different head coach in place, not named Mike McDaniel, who's a really smart guy who I think is going to learn a lot from his tenure in Miami. You can always soften up. You can never toughen up. He came in a little too soft. Players didn't respect him. Players were late to meetings. It just formed a really bad culture. You know, he's going to go get hired somewhere else, and hopefully he kind of learns how to build a culture, and then he'll get hired again as a head coach at some point, and I think he'll be way more successful. But Miami, blow it up. It's over. It's over. Just accept it, and congratulations to the Ravens on winning the AFC North. If you stuck around to the end of the video, that means you liked something about it. Do me a favor and subscribe. I would really, really appreciate it. We're trying to build it up here so that we can eventually do some live shows, so make sure you subscribe. Thanks.